It's late. The house is quiet, and maybe you find yourself asking a question. A question you've probably never said out loud to anyone, maybe not even to yourself. Is it still okay that I do this every day? Not out of guilt, not out of shame, just a quiet question that lingers in the silence. If you know what I'm talking about, you are not alone. Thousands upon thousands of men over 60 carry this exact question in silence, wondering if a natural, private part of their lives is somehow wrong or even harmful. Welcome to the Essential Health Podcast. My name is Dr. Anya, and today we are going to break that silence. We talk so openly about a man's blood pressure, his cholesterol, even his testosterone levels. But when it comes to the topic of self-touch, of masturbation, there is hesitation and a profound amount of confusion. So let's turn on the lights. Let's talk about it like doctors, without judgment, just truth. What actually happens to your prostate if you masturbate daily after 60? Is it secretly harming you, as the old fearful myths suggest? Or, and this is the reason you must stay with me today, is it actually protecting you in a way you have never been told? For decades, men have been fed a diet of fear, not facts. It drains your energy. It causes inflammation. It leads to cancer. But the good news is, we are no longer living in the dark ages. We have the data. So here's my promise to you for this episode. I am going to walk you through what the real, hard medical science from institutions like Harvard University says about the connection between daily ejaculation and your prostate health. First, I will show you the definitive, peer-reviewed evidence. Then, I will explain the 3 specific biological mechanisms that are at work. And finally, I will give you a complete, holistic prostate protection plan, showing you how this single habit fits into a larger picture of true, sustainable health as you age. This is not a conversation about morality. This is a conversation about physiology. This is the truth you've been looking for. Let's begin with the most powerful study ever done on this topic. All right, we've asked the silent question. Now let's find the answer. Not in myths or old wives' tales, but in the most powerful evidence we have. Let's start with the single most important study ever conducted on this topic. In 2016, researchers at Harvard University, one of the most respected institutions on the planet, published their findings in a prestigious medical journal. This wasn't a small, flimsy study. They followed over 31,900 men for more than 18 years. They tracked their habits, their lifestyles, and their health outcomes. And what they found, after decades of data collection, was a conclusion so clear, so undeniable, that it should have changed the conversation forever. They found that men who ejaculated more often had a significantly lower risk of developing prostate cancer. To be precise, those who ejaculated 21 or more times per month had a 33% lower risk compared to those who did so only 4 to 7 times per month. Let's just sit with that for a moment. A 1/3 reduction in risk. This wasn't a random observation. This was a long-term, peer-reviewed study that controlled for everything: age, diet, exercise, family history. The data told a clear, unambiguous story. The more frequently the system was flushed, the healthier it was. This brings us to the most important question. The question that moves this from a statistic into a personal health strategy. Why? What is the actual biological mechanism at work? What is happening inside your body that makes this simple act so protective? The science has revealed 3 core reasons, 3 powerful secrets to your body's own maintenance system. The first reason is the most mechanical and easy to understand. I call it clearing the pipes. Your prostate is a gland. Its job is to produce seminal fluid. And like any gland with a series of complex ducts, things can get stagnant.
When you don't ejaculate for long periods, those secretions can build up inside the prostate. This stagnant fluid is a problem. It can increase oxidative stress and create a low-grade inflammatory environment. Old cells, debris, and even potential carcinogens can become trapped. I want you to think of it like a garden hose that's been left lying in the sun for weeks with the nozzle closed. What happens to the water inside? It gets murky, things start to grow in it. It's not a healthy environment. Regular ejaculation is like opening that nozzle at full blast for a few seconds every day. You're flushing the system. You're keeping it clean, you're keeping it flowing, and you're preventing the buildup of substances that could cause inflammation and cellular damage over time. It is, quite simply, an act of profound biological hygiene. Okay, so it's a physical cleansing, but the second reason is chemical, and it has to do with an enemy we've talked so often on this show, stress. The second reason is that it calms the storm. For a man over 60, chronic stress is a prostate's worst enemy. When you are stressed, your body is flooded with the hormone cortisol, and elevated cortisol is directly linked to chronic inflammation, higher blood pressure, and a dysregulated immune system. And we now know that chronic inflammation is a primary driver of prostate enlargement, or BPH. So what does a healthy, relaxed state of ejaculation do? It can be one of the body's most powerful natural stress reduction tools. The hormonal cascade that occurs during orgasm can help to lower cortisol levels and release endorphins, creating a sense of calm and well-being. This is not just a feeling, it is a measurable chemical shift. By managing your stress through this natural release, you are actively lowering the systemic inflammation that is irritating our prostate. You are turning down the volume on the very signal that is telling your prostate to swell and grow. It's a built-in stress management system. So it cleans the pipes and it calms the chemical storm. The third and final reason is about maintenance. I call it work in the system. Your reproductive system, just like your muscular system, operates on a simple principle: use it or lose it. Ejaculation is a complex physiological event that requires healthy circulation to the pelvic region, strong nerve signals from your brain, and smooth muscle contractions. It is, in a very real sense, a workout for your entire pelvic infrastructure. As we age, blood flow naturally tends to decrease. Nerve signals can become a little less sharp. Regular, periodic release helps to maintain and reinforce those pathways. You are encouraging healthy blood flow to the tissue. You are keeping those delicate nerve endings firing correctly, and you're reminding those smooth muscles how to do their job. It's a gentle, consistent form of maintenance that supports the very mechanics your body relies on for both urinary and sexual function. It's not about being a hyperactive teenager. It is about recognizing that this is a biological system that, like any system, benefits from regular, gentle, and consistent use. It keeps the machinery running smoothly for the long haul. Okay, let's pause here. We've just gone through the Harvard study and the three powerful mechanisms: clearing the pipes, calming the storm, and working the system. The evidence is compelling, but I can almost hear the question that's forming in your mind right now, because it's the first question my own patients ask me. They look at me, a little overwhelmed, and they say, "Dr. Anya, are you seriously telling me the magic number is 21 times a month? That sounds exhausting. It sounds like a chore." And this is where we have to move beyond the headline of the study and into the real human context. This is the most important nuance of our entire conversation. The goal is not to chase a number. That Harvard study made another equally important observation that often gets buried in the sensational headlines. They found that the men with the healthiest prostate outcomes, the ones with that higher frequency, also tended to live healthier lives overall. They exercised more, they slept better, they maintained a healthier weight, they reported lower stress levels. In other words, this was not an isolated habit happening in a vacuum. It was one part of a much larger, interconnected picture of balanced, mindful health. Self-release was simply a symptom of their overall vitality, not the sole cause of it. And that brings us to the next very logical question. Is it possible to do this too much? The answer is yes and no. And the only person who can answer that question is you. Your body is incredibly intelligent, and it will tell you if you learn to listen. The key is to distinguish between a healthy biological release and a compulsive stress-based response. Ask yourself the simple question, how do you feel after? If you're forcing it out of a sense of compulsion, boredom, or as a way to numb anxiety, you will likely feel fatigued afterwards. You might have trouble sleeping. You might notice a lack of motivation or a feeling of emptiness instead of satisfaction. That is your body sending you a clear signal that this has become less of a health tool and more of a stress behavior, and adding stress is not our goal. But if your body feels grounded, if you feel mentally relaxed and peaceful afterward, if your energy levels the next day are stable, then chances are your practice is perfectly aligned with your natural biology. The key is to stay in tune with your own energy, not a number on a chart. This is not a contest. It is not about chasing a goal. It is about listening to your body with honesty and respect. And I need to stop here for a moment and speak directly to the men listening who might be 65, 70, or even older. You might be hearing all of this and thinking, well, that's great, but that ship has sailed for me. This doesn't apply anymore. I need to tell you, with all my conviction as a physician, that is absolutely not true. Your age does not cancel out your biology. In fact, maintaining all of these systems, your circulation, your nerve response, your hormonal rhythm, becomes even more important as we get older. The difference is that your approach needs to be gentler, more mindful, less rushed. Perhaps the frequency is different, but the core principle remains the same. Release isn't just about procreation or youthful pleasure. In this chapter of life, it becomes a crucial tool for maintenance. It is a way to support the long-term health of your prostate. And your body thanks you for that support. So, now we have this powerful tool. We understand the science from Harvard and the nuanced personal context, but we have to be honest with ourselves. This one tool, as powerful as it is not a magic bullet. It will not fix everything. It must exist as part of a much larger, holistic system that keeps your prostate healthy for the long run. If you are releasing regularly but then filling your plate with inflammatory foods, skipping exercise, and sleeping poorly, it will not be enough. So what does that larger system look like? Let's talk about that now.
Okay, we've established that regular, healthy ejaculation is one powerful, scientifically backed tool in our prostate protection toolkit. But I want to be very clear, it is one tool. It is one piece of a much larger, more intricate puzzle. True, lasting prostate health after 60 is a lifestyle, not a single habit. If you are doing that one thing right, but then filling your plate with inflammatory foods, skipping exercise, and sleeping poorly, the system will still fail. So now, let's build the rest of that puzzle. Let's talk about the complete, holistic system that will keep your prostate healthy for the decades to come. I've broken it down into 5 key pillars of support. The first pillar is nutrition. Your prostate is incredibly sensitive to what you eat, and it is either being calmed or inflamed by your diet. Meal after meal, one nutrient in particular has been shown to be a powerful protector. It's called lycopene. Lycopene is the potent antioxidant that gives red and pink fruits their color. You'll find it in tomatoes, watermelon, and pink grapefruit. Its primary job is to reduce oxidative stress in your prostate tissue.
A major study in cancer epidemiology found that men with the highest intake of lycopene had a significantly lower risk of developing aggressive prostate cancer. And here's the secret. It works much better when the tomatoes are cooked. So a healthy tomato paste or sauce is actually more potent than a raw tomato. A few servings a week can make a real difference. Other powerful allies on your plate: green tea, which is rich in a famous anti-inflammatory compound called EGCG, and cold water fish like salmon or sardines, which are loaded with the omega-3 fats that calm systemic inflammation. What you eat shapes your prostate just as much as what you do. The second pillar is daily movement. We've heard it 1,000 times, but let's connect it directly to the prostate. Circulation is life. When you sit for long hours, especially with poor posture, blood flow to your entire pelvic region slows to a crawl. This creates stagnation. It can lead to swelling, discomfort, and poor function. You do not need to run marathons. A simple, brisk walk every day, gentle stretching, it all counts. And for men, Kegel-style exercises, squeezing and holding those pelvic floor muscles, can significantly improve both urinary control and sexual function over time. You are actively pumping life-giving blood to the entire region. The third pillar is the one we so often sacrifice: sleep. If you are waking up constantly, if your sleep is shallow and broken, your prostate is not getting the nightly reset it desperately needs. Your primary male hormone, testosterone, which is so crucial for your vitality, has its peak production during deep sleep. Poor sleep equals lower testosterone. And what happens with low testosterone? It can lead to increased abdominal fat, which in turn can raise your estrogen levels, creating a hormonal environment that promotes more inflammation in the prostate. If you want to protect your prostate naturally, you must fix your sleep first. Cut out screens 90 minutes before bed. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. Make your room cool and dark. These small changes in your night routine can lead to big shifts in your prostate comfort within weeks. The fourth pillar is about naming the villain. The silent enemy is chronic inflammation. A condition called prostatitis, a chronic inflammation of the prostate, affects millions of older men, causing pain, pressure, and frequent urination. But here's what most men don't realize: it is not always caused by an infection. In so many cases, that inflammation is systemic. It is being driven by your diet, the blood sugar spikes from processed foods, and by chronic, unmanaged stress. A major 2021 review confirmed that anti-inflammatory diets and stress reduction techniques improve prostate symptoms often more effectively than medication. You have the power to put out that fire. And that brings us to the fifth and final pillar, and it is the one that no one ever wants to talk about out loud. It is the pillar of mental stress and shame. So many men, perhaps from their upbringing or social pressure, carry a deep internal guilt around the topic of masturbation. They see it as a weakness or something they should have outgrown. And I need to be very clear with you as a physician, that internal guilt, that chronic emotional stress, is a real physical burden. It increases cortisol, it disrupts your hormonal balance, and if you feel a wave of shame every time you engage in a natural biological release, your body absorbs that tension. So I want to speak directly to you right now. Take a breath, let go of the fear. You're not doing anything wrong. You are not broken. You are responding to a biological need. And when done mindfully, without guilt or compulsion, it is a legitimate and valuable part of your own self-care and your own healing. So, let's bring this all together. The answer to the question we asked at the very beginning is clear. Masturbation is not a shameful secret from your youth. It is a natural biological function, one that Harvard University has shown can play a powerful protective role in your long-term prostate health when done regularly and without compulsion.
But, and this is the most important message of all, it is just one piece of the puzzle. True, lasting prostate health is a lifestyle, not a single habit. It is the nourishing food you put on your plate, the deep sleep you get each night, the daily movement that keeps your blood flowing, and the mindful release of both physical and emotional stress. And now, it's your turn. After hearing this honest conversation, I want to ask you, which of these 5 pillars of prostate health are you going to focus on improving this week? Let us know in the comments below. Your commitment is a powerful first step. If this conversation helped you understand your body better, please show your support by giving this episode a like, and be sure to subscribe to the Essential Health podcast so you never miss these vital conversations. And finally, please share this episode. Send it to a friend, a brother, a father, a husband. This is a conversation that is happening in silence all over the world. By sharing it, you help break that silence. Until next time, take good care of yourselves.